From Alachua, Florida, I'm Amrita-Keli.
I'm Krishna.
And I'm Namamrita. Welcome to Nectar Talks from the heart of New Raman Reti, the largest Hare Krishna community in North America.
And the home of thousands of Bhakti Yoga practitioners. In our ongoing series of live interviews, we explore a range of spiritual topics, introducing you to inspirational community members and guest speakers with diverse backgrounds and experience.
Like bees searching for nectar, we seek to extract pearls of wisdom from how they live their lives and the spiritual lessons they can impart to us and our listeners.
If you're seeking nectar, look no further. All right.
Let's get started.
Hare Krishna, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
And
Krishna.
welcome to Nectar Talks, episode 22. How's everybody doing? I see we have a lot of listeners today for this special live episode. I'm really excited. How are you doing, Amrita-Keli?
I'm doing well. I'm also seeing all these people coming on live, and it has me feeling thrilled and like the good old days are back.
Yeah, maybe we need to go back to doing live.
I agree. This is wonderful.
How are you doing? It's been a while since you and I have both joined as hosts together, and you're an Alachua resident now after all this time in Jacksonville, isn't that right?
Yes, we're neighbors.
Very exciting.
It's exciting. We've been here for 5 days, I think. We're still kind of moving back and forth between Jacksonville, and we feel so at home. I can't even tell you how happy and excited we are. It's such a gift.
You managed to have a very nice background for only being in your home for 5 days.
It's a set. It's just a set. And I just want to say we feel so welcomed by the devotees. I mean, I just totally embraced by our family. So thank you all.
That's wonderful. And please give us a quick update on how your husband Leela Kishore is doing. We had that very special episode with both of you, and we heard about his battle with cancer. You have a little update for us? How's he doing?
He's doing well. Thank you so much for all of your prayers and support. He is currently cancer-free, and he does have yes, he is. They are keeping his port in for a couple more months, and they're going to keep observing him. Okay. So well,
we still send him all our love and best regards.
Thank you. That's meant so much.
So happy to hear that.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here with everyone. I'm really honored of the special guest we're having here today. I can't wait to introduce them. I did want to give a quick update on Krishna Kishore, our third host, who we had come on board a few episodes ago. He's in India right now. His wife is pregnant. I heard through Facebook they're having a girl, so we're very excited. But I just wanted to let our listeners know that that's why it's taking some time for him to come back. He did a wonderful episode with Pushkar Prabhu, and we're looking forward to doing many more with him. So that's the news on Kish.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why don't you go ahead and take us into this episode, Amrita-Keli?
Certainly. So it is such a great honor. This is a historical Nectar Talks episode, and our guests are such special family members of ours here at New Raman Reti. We have Jagadish and Savitri Prabhus. Hare Krishna, and welcome to Nectar Talks.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming on. Such a pivotal time in your lives, in your devotional lives, in your material lives, and just sharing your heart with us and sharing the heart of your yatra abroad and here at home. Thank you. I'm just going to do a quick introduction before we begin to hear from you. So you are both from Ukraine, and Jagadish Prabhu, I heard that your father's Armenian and was in the Soviet army for many years, right? And your mother is Ukrainian.
A pure Ukrainian, yes.
Okay.
You would say like that. Yeah.
Okay. And but you grew up speaking only Armenian and Russian, is that right? And then you learned Ukrainian.
Actually, yes, you are right. I grew up speaking only Russian. Then when my family was traveling to Armenia for big vacations, I learned Armenian in the Armenia with my grandparents, uncles, everybody. The family is huge. I would say the whole village, it's Karapetyan family. It's my father's last name. So
Wow.
yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I got into Ukrainian and Armenian, and I always said I'm half Ukrainian, half Armenian.
So cool. Wonderful. And Savitri Prabhu, you're from Western Ukraine, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And that's as Ukrainian as you can be.
It's being from Florida, I'm not sure what that means, but I hope one day I do.
That's just saying it in a simple way. Western Ukraine, they preserved, enlarged the culture, the kitchen, the traditions, dance and songs and
dresses.
Yeah. So most of the Ukrainian culture was very much preserved in a Western part. Not that the rest of Ukraine doesn't have it, but that's like,
I've been challenged because I didn't speak Ukrainian, so I have to learn, I have to study before.
Speak Ukrainian on the streets and the schools, and we learn Russian in the school, but Ukrainian is our prominent language.
It's interesting. In Western Ukraine people mostly spoke Ukrainian language. In my part of Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine, we spoke only Russian language. But when we was coming together in the middle somewhere, in the meetings, we understood each other, and it was somehow magical.
So one would speak in Russian, the other would speak in Armenian, and you could understand.
In Ukrainian.
Sorry.
Yeah, we spoke Russian. The Western Ukraine does speak Russian, so we just switched.
She learned Armenian. She learned Armenian only ISKCON. That means I love you. This is
That's
most
so
important.
Sweet. That's so sweet. Great. So you just passed your 20th anniversary. I believe it's been 21 years since you moved straight from the Ukraine to New Raman Reti specifically. And you've been here ever since. And you said that it didn't feel like moving to America or the States. You felt like you moved to Prabhupada land.
Yes, it's absolutely right. Interesting, we got married and we took our honeymoon in Holy Dham, Vrindavan. We went to Vrindavan right away. And when we came back from Holy Dham, that experience of purity stayed with us. And we wanted to live in Holy Dham. And somehow by Krishna arrangement, we got a new Raman Reti Dham. We didn't even realize that we came to United States of America. We realized that we came to Prabhupada family. Prabhupada land, with all love of devotees. When we entered that community, that way of Prabhupada love approached us, till now, till this second.
Yes, it still continues. We still live in Prabhupada land. Never changed for us.
It's amazing. And I hope that later on in the show, we can fill in some of the some of this story and hear more from you about your adventures. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much. So there's a lot we want to get into, but before we start our specific questions, I wanted to ask you both, because it's such an amazing world historical time right now, and we're very concerned about, obviously, all the devotees that are affected. Please tell us, how are you both doing, and how are your families doing right now?
We are doing well. We do receive a lot of encouragement from local devotees who encourage us, and then that prayer, that care, that love, we do certainly transform into our support and messages we send to our parents, we send to our friends and devotees back in Ukraine. So yes, we are doing well.
Yeah, you know, Namamrita Prabhu, it's interesting. I would like to add that I want to feel what devotees are feel in the Ukraine land. This is what I tell them always. I tell them, I want to, physically, I'm not able to be there, but I want to stretch my arms to you. I want to give you my love, and I want to feel what you're experiencing. This is my kind of path, you know, in this situation.
Paraduka duki. Thank you for that. You know, neither Amrita-Keli or I have ever had the pleasure of visiting, you know, Ukraine, but we've seen so much wonderful footage of just packed, ecstatic festivals. When we've heard a lot about the yatra. And by the way, I wanted to ask you, when we speak of countries, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, or the other neighboring countries, what is the best way to reference that? Is it sometimes I think Eastern European, but that may not encompass everyone. What is a good way to reference this particular yatra, would you say?
I don't even know.
You speaking specifically of Ukraine?
Or overall
I guess, or let's say for our local community, would you say the Russian-speaking community or the Russian-Ukrainian community?
We could probably say former Soviet Union.
Or we can say Russian-speaking community.
Or Russian-speaking.
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to know what's a good way to reference that particular yatra, and specifically our local community.
For the last 30 plus years, we know all the previous Soviet Union as a Russian-speaking community, or should I say, Ruski ISKCON, Russian ISKCON, and it was spread to all devotees assembled together. Of course, when the Soviet Union is collapsed and all republics became separate countries, officially we have Ukraine ISKCON, Russian ISKCON, Armenian ISKCON, such a thing. But all the people together. If you
would like to unite them,
that
will be probably proper to say Russian speaking.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Just for the sake of knowing how to reference that whole yatra. Thank you for that. So tell us a little bit about this yatra that is known throughout our movement for being so devout and expansive. You know, what has made the soil so fertile for Krishna consciousness in that region of the world specifically? Are there some historical, cultural, or social influences that played into that?
I would name it at first, it's Srila Prabhupada mercy. It's only Srila Prabhupada mercy. This is the foundation of all Ukrainian community, and all previous Soviet Union communities ISKCON now. By mercy of Srila Prabhupada books, the foundation was established nearly perfect. Devotees are standing on their lotus-like feet strongly with desire to give holy name, to receive holy name. Then, of course, all the sannyasis and all spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada disciples, when they came to the Soviet Union, Ukraine, all the countries, it began more and more powerful. Yeah.
But to add to that, yes, the culture of all the Soviet Union republics, they were special. They are special. They do have this culture of serving, of working in groups and communities to achieve their goals, the big goals, small goals, doesn't matter. Even like overall in a country, as well as the small cities, towns, villages, everybody knew each other. They would help each other. It's in the culture. And of course, that big hunger for devotion, for spirituality.
For spiritual knowledge.
So when Srila Prabhupada first came to the Soviet Union and planted that seed, it of course bloomed because the soil, the culture was ready. They were ready for it to happen.
Yeah. Do you know a little bit about the history from when Srila Prabhupada first came, or even before he came? I think he sent Mother Mandakini. I think she brought that first Bhagavad Gita. That was maybe before Prabhupada even came. But from that time until how vast this yatra is today, do you know a little bit about the history, how it kept on expanding over the years?
It's all started by Srila Prabhupada visit and his sincere, dear disciples, and then his desire to, I would say, to put a special Bhakti Lata beach in that soil of hearts of those devotees, of young boys and girls. And then by his loving care and desire that Krishna consciousness will spread in these countries, everything start happening. Then devotees start appearing, the whole history of, I believe everybody understand and know how devotees are started Krishna consciousness in that country.
Right.
But the desire of devotees to please Srila Prabhupada and be involved in devotional service produced that Krishna Bhakti in Soviet Union.
And certainly they were empowered. As my husband is saying, they could not have been able to do it without that power Srila Prabhupada left there in that first devotee.
Yes.
And that was spreading as, it just, every time somebody would give somebody brochure or book or just say Hare Krishna mantra, it would spark right away.
Yeah.
Because they're part of Srila Prabhupada, given from one to another.
Can you remind us the name of that very first devotee that Srila Prabhupada?
Ananta Shanti Prabhu.
Ananta Shanti.
Haribol.
And of course, we all know of so many both amazing and terrible stories of what the devotees went through over the years. So we certainly offer all our love and respects for the many devotees who have served Prabhupada in developing Krishna consciousness in that part of the world. What about, tell us a little bit about how many temples are there in Ukraine? How many devotees are there currently?
Yeah, lately, His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj, he spoke on interview, and we want to follow his footsteps, what he was saying. And he was saying that it's around 20,000 devotees in Ukraine, in the community of Srila Prabhupada family, and about 25 active temples so far was active at that point before everything started. Right. Specifically, we're gonna speak in Kiev temple. It's the main temple, a big building. We have some images we will show later, probably. Yes, this is the building which started, I would say, maybe 30 years ago, all from the foundation by devotees' desire with their hands, with their desire to build a temple on their own. You know, they was collecting donations, they was going to factories and asking people to be involved in accomplish that finishing project of build a wonderful temple. And before everything started,
beautiful temple. I mean, for the listeners who, you know, may be listening to this without the video, that was just a massive building. So this was specifically built by the devotees. It's not like a local building that was purchased.
Yes,
it looks like a beautiful historic church that you would see here.
Yeah, that's all their love and care and effort and faith and everything they could put in it.
When we all started, we all was of course living in a different temples, but the main temple was a Kiev temple, capital of Ukraine. And when we started visiting Kiev, it was a foundation only. So basically it was a basement, and then we was on our eyes, we see how it was gradually growing and growing and growing. And devotee was willing to keep living in that temple and continue building.
Wow.
And of course, I can't ignore that by distributing Srila Prabhupada books, that temple was growing too. And so many people was coming, you know, because of that way of devotion to Srila Prabhupada distribution books.
Yeah.
And this is how actually everything happened. And of course, all our dear spiritual masters, they was visiting Ukraine, encouraging everybody.
Basically raising us as little kids.
Yeah.
Helping us to walk, helping us to talk.
It's an amazing community. You know, if we remember from the first days and till today, even in such difficulties, they are all together. For example, today I received call and one devotee told me, Jagadish, we are starting sangha now. They are starting sangha now in some place. They are gathering together and they glorifying Krishna, they glorifying Srila Prabhupada, and they was asking us to continue praying for them. Yeah.
This is something that we were very curious to ask you about, and we want to hear about your involvement in communication with your devotee family in the Ukraine. But before we hear that, can you tell us a little bit, you know, we have information out there for the devotees, but for our listeners who haven't heard yet, what are the conditions like right now in Ukraine? Are the devotees, are many displaced? Are they moving to different places? Are they safe? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a difficult talk. I will tell you honestly. And when everything is started, all devotees are staying in the same place where they used to live. Okay. They decided that they're gonna be in the place where they used to live all the time. And when it was growing more danger and danger
becoming more dangerous and more bombings and unsafe for them to continue.
And from the beginning, the leaders of Kiev temple and responsible leaders of Ukraine community, our dear spiritual masters, they was encouraging devotees to leave unsafe places and go somewhere where is more safely. But somehow so many devotees, they was desire to stay on the place where they used to live and continue praying. In that moment, somehow, with all our heart and other devotees, we start communicating with them. Even before everything started, we was communicating with so many families. But when it started officially, then we knew what's going on. And they was hour by hour, they was standing, praying, continue cooking Krishna prasadam, continue serving deities in the temple with the full service, which they was, doing all the time, established, yes. And at some point, one of the family, they told us story, we called them, and the wife, she told us, I'm begging my husband to leave the house because she's scared. And husband, he wanted to stay to the end. But one day he told her, yeah, we must leave. And when they decide to leave, they packed the suitcase. But when they opened the window to look, they see the tanks passing by their house. Oh. And when they saw that, they understood it's kind of late. And they decided to still hold and continue and wait until the moment comes. So day by day, I would say hour by hour, they was, in the situation where it's depression changing into the faith, and then faith again growing and kind of disappearing, and fear it comes again. And in that condition, we've been receiving with Savitri so many voice messages and phone calls. And of course, our answer was right away, as much as possible. Even while we at work, officially, we stop our mail truck, we park safely, and we call and we talk as much as possible. We talk, we give as much as possible care, love, philosophy, everything what it can help them.
Some of the phone calls or the messages we would receive is so much fear entered our heart. Please help us. Say something, do something, tell us something so we can feel that we are not alone in this. So we would reach, we would talk, we would listen, let them talk it out, let it out, and then say that simply we love them. And then as my Guru Maharaj, he inspired them to live to the safer place, Niranjana Swami Guru Maharaj. And the important thing that he told them, you are important. You are devotees, you are important for Srila Prabhupada, for his movement, for ISKCON altogether. You are. So please make sure you are safe. And that was the encouragement, big encouragement for them.
So those who have taken that to heart and have actually gone somewhere, where are they going right now?
If you like, I will tell you by short stories. Maybe that feels interesting.
Please. Yeah, we do share specific stories.
Yeah, we would like to share some images with our community, which we send it to. It's Bhakta Volodya, one devotee, who's a very famous sculptor in Ukraine.
Volodya, yes, I think Madhurya Leela has some images that you sent.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes, that's his family. Actually, his story is very interesting. He's been involved in so many monuments through the whole Ukraine. He's one of the best sculpturists in Ukraine, a very young boy who became...
Yeah, he's so young looking to be a famous sculptor.
Wow.
Yeah, who became, I would say, maybe 10 years ago as a member of our community. And plus, he's a very, very dedicated, amazing Christian boy, I would say, same way, with his prayers to Jesus and plus his Krishna consciousness. It's amazing. So he stayed in Kiev during that time. And I did that's his artworks. Yes, this one I believe in Dnepropetrovsk, and there is other monuments which are in Odessa and in Kiev also. Yes. He's also actually made a very beautiful murti of Srila Prabhupada too. Yes.
He's also made a beautiful monument for 50th anniversary of arriving Srila Prabhupada to United States.
Yes.
And that was placed in Boston.
Yes.
In Boston.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Perfect.
Half of it in Boston and half of it in Calcutta.
It's made in two parts of Srila Prabhupada boarding the Jaladuta and leaving. So one part of the monument went to India, the other one is here.
Where in Boston? Is it by the port?
It's near the temple, I believe.
Near the temple,
in front of the temple, yes. Yeah, that's his all recognitions, everything. And his heart actually touching. You can't just ignore this boy, his devotion to Srila Prabhupada. And
so you were saying that he has been a refugee now?
He's actually, yes, he used to live in Kiev. He's been in Kiev through the time. And before even tragic started, I've been chatting with him, sharing my emotions to him. And we've been talking about spiritual life, about his personal life. And when everything is started, he decided to stay in Kiev as much as possible. And when it was, got
escalating?
Yes, when everything was escalated, and on top of everything, his wife, she was pregnant with 9 months pregnant. And he said, Jagadish Prabhu, I can't leave now because my wife, she's pregnant, and we don't know when, the day will come.
Their motivation was that they were very close to maternity home for her.
Yes.
And leaving their apartments and moving somewhere was so dangerous, but staying became even more dangerous.
Somehow he shared, many thoughts, everything. We looked at his wife, we spoke with him, with his wife. Her name, I forgot at this moment. She got initiated by Niranjan Maharaj recently on online initiation. Yes, and at one day he called me and he said, Jagadish Prabhu, I decide we will be relocated. Yeah. And I shared the story of him with my friends at work, non-devotees. There is one image of Miss Mamie. Yeah, she's a very beautiful, wonderful person. She worked with us at post office. And when I spoke with her, she grabbed my arms and Savitri right away in the middle of the post office facility. And she raised her hand up and she started praying to Jesus very loudly.
Her?
Yes, it's her. Yes, it's her. And she was praying and asking Jesus, please help them, save them. And while she was doing that, I was raised my hand up and I started chanting Panchatattva mantra, wow. And we all together was praying for their family. And then she took out $100 bill. She gave it to me and she said, you must send it to them.
Make sure they move safely.
Make sure their baby will be fed well, even before baby was born. And at the same day, they actually left the Kiev. One devotee, he took them and they left the Kiev. And while they was driving,
the plan was to drive to the West Ukraine, which is the safest place for them right now. That's the driver.
Okay.
Yes. And so devotees immediately we try to organize some financial help for them to move.
We collect all donations we received for Volodya Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we send it directly to him so he could organize the transportation. So that was a really quick, immediate move.
Yeah.
And they sat in the car and they drove. So halfway to the destination place, which was Vinnytsia city, also already a safe place for some of the Ukraine. She went into labor. And they basically just found the closest maternity home they could, drove there, and 1 hour later she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl.
Yeah.
And all of them were safe and
they named her
healthy.
They named her Maria. It's a legal name and spiritual name. I believe Bhaktivedanta Maharaj gave her Mohini Murti. Yes. Yeah. It was so. As of right now, they are deeply appreciated. They don't know how to express their thanks to all devotees and all people from whom we collect donations and send it to him. We talk every day. We try to encourage, and they're encouraging us too by their exemplary. Yeah. There is few families.
That's one amazing story of so many, and I'm sure there's many that are tragic, unfortunately, as well. What are your personal realizations when it comes to the big picture of life and Krishna consciousness? You're involved in so intimately with so many devotees that are just in such a life crisis. Has that changed your perspective in any ways? What's your experience?
Namamrita Prabhu and all listeners, I will tell you honestly, I was listening all the voice messages and talks with devotees, and I understood at some point they have knowledge, they have faith in Srila Prabhupada, they believe in Prabhupada movement, they believe in each of their devotional spiritual masters from whom they got initiated or their candidates. And at the same time, I felt they need not only philosophy, they need our care and our love and our voice. And this is what we did, and we continue doing with Savitri, trying to, support them with any expression of care we can be doing. We've been sending them some images of spring flowers which growing now, because one days they was not able to even go outside.
Yes, some of them were in the basements for weeks in a row. So what we would do just early in the morning before we go to work, my husband would go outside and just record the morning sounds.
Foggy morning videos.
Short videos or just audio, and send it to them. And we didn't know if that would help or not at first. But as they would receive those messages, they would go like, oh my gosh, you gave us our life back. We know we will be all right. Thank you for giving us that opportunity.
Of course, we spoke and we speak about Srila Prabhupada too, and Krishna consciousness and our life. But the most what we do with Savitri, we're trying to reach with our love to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I finish what my husband was saying.
Yeah, please.
Sometimes they would be in a really like heavy down mood, like please help. Is so much fear in our heart. We don't know what's next, what will happen, or we don't know to try. We don't want to try anymore. That was the hardest for us. When they leave the message, we don't want to fight anymore, whatever happens. And we would just almost scream to them, please, don't do it for yourself. Do it for us.
Do it for us,
If you truly love us, just please do it for us. Continue. continue praying, continue helping, continue caring, and continue fighting in your heart to survive.
Wow. It's such an amazing examples of how to have authentic compassion for other human beings and for these devotees specifically. I actually happened to listen this morning to a lecture by Bhakti Tirtha Swami about just this topic, authentic compassion. And he was talking about how, no one wants to be treated as, we are only going to care for you if you're a pure devotee. And at the same time, we don't want to care for people only on their bodies. We should always see everyone and care for everyone, for both the soul and the body. And so I think you're exemplifying that so nicely, where you're giving them spiritual encouragement, but also giving them some of these just lifelines of making them feel psychologically and physically better by seeing a morning sunshine, hearing the birds, and these things like that. And I want to follow up with asking you about how we can help, because one of the really important things I got out of this lecture by Bhakti Tirtha Swami is that authentic compassion is when you actually use that impetus of your heart and your feeling, your sympathetic feeling for other people, but you follow that with actual resources and facilitation to make a genuine difference. So I really want to encourage everyone who's listening to this podcast to do that. These devotees are in so much need, and we want to go beyond, giving heartfelt prayers and sympathy for them. Let's see how we can practically help them. So I looked up a couple of things that I also got out of that podcast with Niranjana Swami on Wisdom of the Sages. Specifically, I wanted to share that if you go to ISKCONnews.org, there is a link there for Ukrainian crisis and a verified website where you can send funds. That website is called shareyour.care, SHAREYOUR.care, CARE. But you can get that link on ISKCONnews.org. But tell us, from your, you have a lot of experience now caring for these devotees, and you know a lot about the different systems out there. So how can we and the other devotees who want to contribute help?
It's interesting. How can we help? This is what you're asking. And we've been asked this question for the last about, more than a month. By all people who surrounding us. We go out on the street for delivering mail, and people who knew us, they stop our mail trucks, they come to us and they hold our hands, non-devotees, and they say, Edward or Oksana, how can we help? What can we do? And we got really really emotional. We do have a list of people who already involved, who already donated money. They just bringing envelopes and they writing, Ukraine is important for us. Please give them our love. And they give us envelopes. We don't even know how much they give. I just write the last name and I write address. And then we collect those money and we send to our devotees. It's been already about more than $2,000 we send it individually to probably about 7 families supported by the collection which we've got, including we understood that we are working here not just for us. This USPS, our work, it belongs for supporting devotees specifically right now. And I think the best way to follow the authorities, the same link which you have, that will be very appropriate. And of course, people on the street, they really, they touched our hearts with those envelopes and cares. They write the cards. They ride the cars with Christian symbols. Even two people, they approached us and they told us, Edward, in our church, we are praying for all Hare Krishna devotees in Ukraine because they know we are Hare Krishna. And I was really touched. I told Miss Peggy, I owe you my life. And she started crying. But this is what people do. And why they do this? Because they receive.
Right.
So if you receive that care, if you receive that love, and you want to give more, definitely people answering.
So yes, the website you mentioned is really important because it's authorized, as you mentioned as well.
Yeah.
And they did organize big Food for Life program right now, in which was active, but now it's a lot more spreaded in a special like under the attack cities, and not only for the people. Yes, that's the picture of devotees. Not only for the devotees, but as well for everybody in need. So they do cook a lot, and it's well organized. And if devotees would love to donate and support on a site you mentioned, that would be directed to those specific services, as well as the families relocated and in need of basic things in their everyday life.
That picture which we see just now, that's Gaura Purnim Prabhu. He's from Kiev, and his wonderful wife Mataji Sitala. He is a coordinator in all the Food for Life programs in Ukraine right now.
He is the main person who is right now organizing, coordinating people, donations, bhoga and deliveries,
and opening new branches of Food for Life programs in the small cities and in the big cities, continuing to grow to assist devotees and of course non-devotees too.
Yeah, that's I find that so amazing that, you know, they are the ones in crisis, but they're using their time and resources to help and serve. Tell us a little bit more about how the Ukrainian devotees that are there are mobilizing, and what other kinds of activities are they taking part of?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Recently, we spoke with one devotee. I was trying to reach somebody who's in Mariupol. That's the place which been swept
off of
the ground
face of the
completely.
earth.
It's a big commercial city. We used to distribute many books back in 1992, 93, 94. And we was trying to help one family to find each other. And I asked Gaura Purnim Prabhu how we can assist them. So he gave me one devotee's name, Madhava Krishna Prabhu, who was in Mariupol and who was available to relocate more than 20 devotees in the most dangerous, circumstances. And here I have his voice recordings, and he told me, Jagadish Prabhu, while everything was flying above our heads, we was understood that we are protected by Krishna and by Lord Nrisimhadev. They was cooking outside on the street, and the only one thing which was separating them, it was a big wall with the bricks, and they was hearing everything what's happening behind that wall.
The falling bombs and bullets and all that.
And he said at one point we understood Mare Krishna Rakeke, Rake Krishna Mareke,
right.
that thing. He said, I really understand what Sharanagati means. He said that way. And he said, if I will be in the same position again, don't say I don't want to be there, because I felt Krishna the most closest to me at that time. So, such a thing. And devotees are, fortunately, most of the devotees got relocated. When he spoke a voice message, he told me, at this moment I speak, I never heard that any devotee got hurt or killed.
So all the devotees are safe.
At that moment when he spoke. And he said, actually, we do feel that we are under some special dome, like we covered by Krishna and mercy and all devotees' prayers.
Wow.
So yes, they do. There are a couple of places they do relocate. Like 2 villages devotees had organized before, and many devotees who can able to run and leave their homes, they would go to those places, and it's like before it was like a village where they would do the different seminars and stuff like that for devotees, but now it's a place for shelter.
Most of devotees, they was able to find that corridor. Like, for example, in Berdansk, there is one Bhaktin Susanna. She somehow Krishna gave us opportunities to help ladies who's pregnant also. She is 5 months pregnant. Her husband, before war, he somehow went for the business trip to Germany. And when everything started, he stuck in Germany. She stayed in one of the closest city to a very dangerous place. So by mercy of their leaders of that temple, we got in touch with that Bhaktin Susanna. We never saw her in our life. And we spoke a little bit with her, and we tried to, assist her, help her. And with another amazing family from United States, it's Amato family, they was willing to help financially, specifically to that family. So they sent us donations. We sent immediately donations to her. And she really was like sending voice messages with tears and crying and thanking that there is somebody who cares, who wanted to help. And I asked her, how did you become Krishna devotee? And it stunned me. She said, I was 2 years old when my parents purchased books, Srila Prabhupada books, on a factory. And when she said on a factory, I got frost, because I knew those cities we was driving through, we was distributing Prabhupada books in those cities.
Wow.
And in specifically in those factories. And then I hear she's 20-some year old with pregnant baby. She's a devotee. She said, I just start reading those books when I grew up a little bit, elder. And she became a devotee. So finally she got relocated. Now she's in Germany with her husband. With her husband.
Okay. That's great.
We received. Yes.
I heard that mostly it's women and children that are, having to flee, and the men aren't always able to go along. So it's nice to hear that they were able to.
Krishna arranged. He went for trip before everything started. And I told her that because she was kind of depressed, and I told her, you're gonna meet him. But look what Krishna arranged. Now you're gonna drive safe. She was able to hire a good transportation because she's pregnant. We was worried about all those driving issues. So she drove safely till Poland, and now she reached her husband.
Wow, wonderful. I want to ask you one follow-up question on how to help. President Biden announced, I think it was at the end of March, that he's planning to open up the US for 100,000 refugees. I don't know if hopefully that number will become even bigger, And I don't think it's actually opened yet. But when that time comes and Ukrainians could actually come into the US officially, if there are devotees out there that want to welcome some families into their home, what would be the best way to find out who those devotees are and how to get in touch with them?
I think we already have a couple of families who's trying to reach United States, but we did some research and it's not that easy to approach. So we did recommend them stay in other countries as of right now, and they found safe places. Some of the families, they stay in Switzerland now. Some families stay in Ireland. Some of the family in Finland. But if Krishna will allow our dear devotees to reach New Raman Reti Dham, of course, all devotees, all devotees who are willing to share their homes or their, small places to stay them and recover, they can contact us definitely, and we will, we will involve our wonderful community, Russian-speaking devotees, Russian, Ukrainian, Kazakhstan, Armenian, who else? Tajikistan, Belarusia. We have so many devotees in our community, Russian-speaking, and it's international now. Yeah, we can all, come together and organize something with all our New Raman Reti Dham members.
That's wonderful. Is there an email you want to share if they did want to contact you eventually? What's a safe way for us to get a hold of you?
Yes, the email will be. Should I say now? Or
sure. And we can also, for those who are on Zoom, we can put it in the comments, and we can do that on the other platforms as well. We'll type it in there, as well as the websites. We'll post the websites and the contact information.
We can give our phone number, and devotee can reach us 352-262-0817.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for giving opportunity.
This is so incredible. Hearing how involved you are and how you're networking with so many devotees. Are many of these people devotees that you've met, or are many of these devotees that you're only meeting just now? And how is this all happening?
Yeah, I would say because of, again, we will repeat, Srila Prabhupada here promised to have a home for the whole world, right? This is what Srila Prabhupada said. And how that home will be appearing in this world, by the devotees, by our willing desire to help others, to love others. And, with that desire, we actually wanted to reach devotees. So if we knew some family, we spoke with them directly, and they say to us, Jagadish, Savitri, there is other family who's planning to escape tomorrow morning from the Butch city. This is what we've got, a real story. Butcher city, and it's a like small village city, all got destroyed. The only one house got saved. That was the house of devotees. This is what they told us. And they asked us, can you please pray for them? And immediately, as soon we heard, we tell them, can you give us their names? We want to know their names. We want to care about them by names. We want to be personal to them. And we didn't even know devotees, but we trying to contact them, asking their phone numbers. This is how I and Savitri met Bhaktin Susanna. When, we didn't knew her, but her leaders of community, the president of temple, he gave us her coordinations. And this is how we met her.
So basically, in the first, when everything broke out and the war started, we would of course reach our dear friends, the ones we grew up in ashrams together, and reach out, find out what's happening, what's really is going on, and then they would connect us with others, with the ones we don't know, but we become immediate friends and family in trying to support them. And sometimes we even had a situation when they would call us and say, please, can you call those devotees in some cities, because we have no connection with them. Something happened, we lost connection. Can you please call? Maybe you can reach them from United States. And that would happen. And then we would again grow into a bigger friend family. We definitely added a lot more friends. And
never seen them, and they say, we want to come, we want to see you and hug you. This is what they say, and we say the same to them.
So yes, it was both the ones we know and so and dear to us, and ones we never knew, and new devotees we never met since we moved to United States, but they became our dearest friends and family.
That's wonderful. I want to just let our listeners know that we're going to open it up for questions and answers. We can read your comments. If you're on Zoom, we will open up the microphones if you want to ask some questions directly. We do have a couple of final questions, but I just wanted to put that out there so that if no matter which platform you're on, if you're following us on Facebook or if you're on Zoom, feel free to write some questions. I already see some of them that we'll certainly bring up. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. I wanted to ask if you could tell us a little bit about our local Russian-speaking sangha. There's actually a lot of wonderful devotees from that region that are living here in Raman Reti, like yourselves, and I would love for you to share for those who haven't gotten to meet all of you. Tell us about the size of this sangha, how you connect together, and all of that.
We call Russian community devotees as a beautiful garden of different flowers, which offer to our dearest Radhashama Sundara. This is how we call them. When we see new coming devotees to our community, like, recently devotees from Los Angeles, they moved to Miami. Then from Miami, Radhasham brought them to New Raman Reti Dham. Bhakti Natasha and Bhakta Zhenya, amazing couple. They are all both professional massageists, right? Yes. But their desire to be involved in service to others is growing over and over every day. It's like, and there is so many wonderful devotees. When everything happened back in Ukraine, immediately we received call from Bhaktin Leah, and she called Savitri, and I heard choking voice. Her nose was stopped, and she said, Savitri, how can I help? What can I do? Yes. And that was like, immediate response. Kashishwar Prabhu and dear Kishori Rani and their wonderful daughter Stephanie. Kashishwar Prabhu, he immediately wanted to do something. That's his nature. He want to do something. He want to produce something to help devotees. There's a beautiful bouquet of flowers in our community. Bhaktin Zhenya and Eldar Prabhu, they're dancing on the streets. They're inviting devotees, please come and glorify Gauranga Mahaprabhu.
They're actually organizing a beautiful Harinams every Saturday in Depot Park. And talking about Ukrainian or Russian speaking devotees about all those festivals and beautiful Rathayatras and Harinams. Yeah. They do it here. They do it here in the beautifully organized ladies, devotees. They dance and they have beautiful kirtans, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see how they could bring that mood of Ukraine, Russia, and other
it's true.
small republics.
I've always admired the how the Harinams are so nicely organized. Yeah, just
this
like in
actually,
photos. And then when I saw some photos of that happening in Depot Park, I was so happy. I was like, it's so unique,
Yes.
So well
really
organized.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Working in a team.
Yeah, this is Bhakti Sangha festival in Ukraine we see now. Yes. And it's amazing.
So our Russian community here, it's so unique and so beautiful, and they are so different.
Recently we visited birthday of Armand. He's, I believe, 1 year old, and his mom named Anastasia and father named Shamil. So they both, it feels like bumblebee, a real bumblebee. They just looking for the nectar. When we receive the voice messages from them, it's like they found the flowers and they got that nectar, and they telling us, Jagadish Prabhu, look how this nectar is beautiful. And this is the, so many devotees. I apologize if I will not mention some of the names. Bhakta Stan, for example. Yeah.
I'm good friends with Stan.
We work with him at post office. He's like a Prabhupada warrior. His wife, Bhaktin Maria.
Marina. If anybody tried Marina, her cakes, devotees, they are not from this world.
Yes. They are not from material ingredients. And Bhaktin Veronica, she's making amazing bread. So it's a really beautiful community.
How many devotees would you say are part of the Russian-speaking sangha here in Alachua?
I don't want to be exact because it's growing.
It's growing all the time.
And what I deeply appreciate about our community, that it's international. If I say Russian speaking, or I say Ukrainian speaking, or should I say Armenian speaking, or should I say Kazakhstan speaking, it's an international community. But we name it Russian speaking because we did it for last many years. And I would say maybe close to 50.
Okay, that's amazing. Well, I'll tell you, I've served with Mother Mukhya a little bit, and she always says how Raman Reti is the real United Nations.
Exactly.
There's so many beautiful nationalities, and you're representing such a beautiful part of the world, and it's wonderful that there's so many of you that get to connect here, because you do have a very unique culture. And I can totally understand, I grew up in France. I'm like, where are the other French devotees around here? But I can appreciate that you get together, and, you're even bringing some beautiful ways of being devotional based on your culture and how you do harinams and your wonderful breads and all these things. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit about that community specifically. It's so nice to hear a little bit about that.
A quick adding to that, specifically myself and Savitri, we work individually with devotee. When there is some occasions, everything, if we are invited, we come. But mostly we love to invite devotees individually, and talk to them, feel their hearts, give them what they need, receive from them what they give. And I see a big, amazing growth in that.
I just quickly wanted to mention my beautiful sister, because she was Gandharika and her amazing husband Indradyumna, they actually were the first ones to come here as Russian-speaking devotees. And that family started from them, from their love and care and attention. And
I always knew Indradyumna was the godfather of that community.
Yes.
Up and down, but
they kept everybody together.
And their art, I wish we had time to have photos of their amazing art. I mean, he is an amazing sculptor and granite and marble worker, and his wife.
Let's say coming soon. Let's say coming soon.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Okay, shall we open it up to questions and answers?
I think that would be fantastic.
Let me pull up that screen here. So one question that came up is, which is a good question. You may not have the answer, but someone is asking, this is Marlon, asking if it's possible to bring Ukrainian devotees to the US by religious visas. We'll throw that out there. I don't know if we can officially answer that on the air.
I would like.
Good question.
I would like to say, I love Marlon. I know him.
Okay.
Yes. He's absolutely amazing devotee. As soon the window will be open, we will know that.
Yeah.
They will be coming, but we are not sure.
He's absolutely.
Sorry.
He's also still Marlon asking if about any news from Radhika Devi Dasi Olenka and her family.
Yeah, we haven't heard, but I believe they are not in Ukraine because they're on a traveling Harinam program, and I don't believe they were in Ukraine, but we can find out. His dear friends.
Yes.
Okay. And someone is asking if the war has affected the building. Maybe this is the building in Kyiv. Do you know if the temple structure is still safe right now?
As of right now,
yes. As of right now, we are praying, and if you see image of the temple, actually it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and the flag on it's a spiritual flag. It's not representing some country or something. It's representing Srila Prabhupada family. This is what actually we started in our spiritual life. We had one flag that was a big piece of fabric, a dark red color, embroidered.
And the writing
in the writing of the
golden
letters of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And it was all over the previous Soviet Union. This is how we started.
So yes, the temple is there. It's not been in any way destroyed, damaged, destroyed. But devotees moved out. There's only one temple president. Devotee who stayed, and a few outside families who ran from the apartments went there, and they stayed in the basement. And the big Radha Madhav deity you just saw on the picture were taken off the altar and put in the basement in a special boxes. So just in case something happens, they will be saved. And the small deities and even big murti of Srila Prabhupada and Gornitai traveled with the devotees to safety.
Really, really beautiful temple and deities.
Deities are beautiful. When
really majestic.
When Radha Madhava was installed, Radhika Raman Prabhu, our dear devotee from New Raman Reti Dham, he told me, Jagadish, Radharani, she's the mother. And I kind of was, I couldn't understand that. But when Radha Madhava was installed in Kyiv and we saw them, I felt like, yes, she's my loving mother. This is when it all started for me. And Niranjan Maharaj, he I would say he put all his heart to such a wonderful community of all Ukrainian devotees and others.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all this very special information and for sharing your hearts and all that you've been doing to serve these devotees. We're so impressed and appreciative of your service, and I hope we can do a little bit something to help as well.
Yeah, we'll try all together. That's Gaura Purnim Prabhu, a big one. Yeah, and this is on the left on the bottom. It's a Jaladuta community of devotees, about maybe 7 families all live together in a big building separated by small apartments. And above on the left is a beautiful Namahata program. There is one video actually, if a small short video of Achyuta Priya Prabhu leading Kirtan
on one of those
Namahatas.
Were you able to get that video, Madhurya Leela?
I saw, this one.
Okay, so how about we end with that when we wrap up? I think it'll be a nice way to finish off.
Perfect way.
But I'm glad that we have that accessible.
Yes.
Well, I think it's a good time to wrap it up. Thank you so much again. I was really very honored that you accepted to speak on this very current and important topic.
Yeah.
We just want to confirm.
Yes.
Go ahead, Prabhu, please.
Yeah, I would like to say quickly, you see smile on our faces, and devotees are in difficult situation out there. Why we have smiles? Because we have to give them that happiness which we're receiving from here, which we're receiving from Prabhupada books, which we're receiving from our senior dear friends in New Raman Reti Dham, Shesha Prabhu, Chaturatma Prabhu family, all of you together. So our smiles actually belongs to them. We're going to call them next morning. We're going to talk to them. We're going to encourage them, ask them, please keep smiling, keep love each other. Don't think differently. Srila Prabhupada is taking care of everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And you mentioned when we had some talks before this interview that the power of prayer is so real and it's so important right now. So we will definitely keep all of the devotees in our prayers and chant very sincerely for them that they can be safe and get back to some sort of normal life soon, hopefully.
We will try to rebuild back everything.
Yeah.
Yes. The Kirtan will be the best way to do that for devotees. Yes. Which we have.
Wonderful.
Jagadish Prabhu and Savitri Prabhu, your phone number again is 352-262-0817. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Thank you so much for providing your contact and for being basically our connection to this yatra on the other side of the world, and how we can somehow offer support through prayers or through our resources. You're our connection and our inspiration. It's just been, it completely changes your perspective and allows you to refocus and really deepen when you listen to these stories. And something that really struck me was just hearing you say, you're at work, but you safely pull the truck over and you take the call, or you reach out, and that type of personalism of really being available to each other, whether it's, with this situation, or if it's within relationships in our community, to really reach out and be there for each other. give and receive. That's something that I feel deeply humbled by hearing from you tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. They are living deities for us.
Yes.
They are living deities for us, those devotees.
And I just wanted to add, for everybody who is listening and to both of you, thank you. Thank you for all your prayers, and thank you for supporting us so we could pass it on to the devotees back there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll end it with that kirtan that I haven't heard yet. I'm looking forward to hearing this kirtan from the devotees in Ukraine. And we'll see everybody on our next episode. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.